After 9 days, 1 hour and 32 minutes spent traveling through space, the Artemis II crew is back on Earth. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday edition of Weekend Recharge. I'm Lynette Charles, joined by Felicia Combs.
So many people were watching, so many people excited. And of course, from space to severe storms, though, we've got a lot to unpack this morning because America's weekend depends on the weather, of course. And for a lot of us, our weekend is going to be spent dodging storms, maybe severe storms.
Exactly. So you definitely have to have a way to get those thunderstorms out there, the severe thunderstorms. If we have tornadoes, be in your safe spot. We can tell you all about it. But it's been a day after a day of
stormy. Yeah, Lynette, we know that March into April especially, even into May, severe season, right? So it's not crazy to think that you have day after day of severe storm warnings. But if you are one of the cities that has, a couple days of severe weather possible in the coming days, then you get a little storm fatigue at some point, right? Let's talk about Lubbock, because storms are really going to be moving in as we head through the second part of our day. A better chance for severe storms, think this evening into the early overnight hours. That continues overnight tonight and into Sunday. A little bit of a break. You'll notice that it's windy, it is hot, but that is kind of the break in between storm chances there on Sunday. Here's the highlighted risk area, and you'll notice there's a large area in the light red shading. That's where you have just a very small risk for storms actually reaching severe limits, and then a slightly higher risk in this darker red shading, especially for the second part of the day. Now, your eye probably to where we're already having some of those thunderstorms there north and northwestern portions of Missouri and Kansas. Do have a flash flood warning there that we'll keep a close eye on, and we'll watch as the atmosphere continues to destabilize here across Texas, here across Oklahoma in the coming hours. We're going to heat up, we're adding more moisture, and all of those elements coming together bring you that risk for severe storms. It's almost like we flip a switch when we take a look at that chance for storms here that we'll be filling in throughout the afternoon. Now, what you'll notice is dotting the map, mainly because you've got that influx of warmth and moisture, the moisture coming from the Gulf of Mexico with those southeasterly winds coming in. Storms dotting the map, maybe a few rumbles of thunder as we head through the afternoon, but it becomes much more widespread with much more coverage into the mid-afternoon and the evening. So you see that here across eastern portions of New Mexico into western Texas. Damaging winds, large hail, all going to be possible. And then eventually overnight tonight, these storms are going to congeal into more of a line segment and become more of a damaging wind threat. Now, as a meteorologist, when we're looking at that and you see that backward C shape, you know that the atmospheric dynamics are there for the capability of producing the damaging wind gusts. Just want to make sure you have some way to get those alerts overnight tonight and into early Sunday morning for places like Dallas and Waco as that energy pushes eastward and takes that risk for severe storms with it. Here's the outlook for tomorrow, for Sunday, and you'll notice now places like Dallas, Shreveport, you're included in at least the small risk, but the higher risk still continuing up into central Kansas, all the way down into southern Texas for tomorrow with that risk for severe storms. Again, damaging winds, large hail going to be some of the risks that we're contending with for our Sunday. Each day, there's not a huge risk of tornadoes, but anytime you have a setup like this, wouldn't completely rule out a weak spin up here. So keep that in mind as well. Timing things out for your Sunday, we're already in the thick of it in Oklahoma City, Dallas, down through Killeen. I think the better chance for the severe storms early on will be like Dallas to Killeen area. And then as the atmosphere kind of reloads for the afternoon, you have another round of those severe storms that will be possible, that we'll be watching closely over into portions of Louisiana. So Lynette, I know sometimes it's hard to keep track. It's like, wait, what day are we? Where are we when you have this many rounds? But you just have to keep an eye to the sky the next couple days.
Exactly. Make sure you stay weather aware.
You never know. Felicia?
Yeah, I mean, that might be their origin story, right? Lots of very cute kids in those shots. Paul, thanks so much for that recap. Can't wait to hear more about it. And I know everyone is so excited to hear more of the actual stories from the astronauts themselves. All right, let's talk about something that you might be less excited about, and that is the potential for storms that we're dealing with today. Sacramento, you're in that. Actually, maybe you like it because the April rainstorm in California is not necessarily the most frequent thing that you'll get, but that is what we're having. The problem is you're also getting some thunderstorms as well. Yesterday was so active in California. We had so many severe thunderstorm warnings, and we do have that potential for isolated severe storms again today. You can see the highlighted region here. Not a huge risk, but there is enough lift, especially with this low that will be off the coast, that you could get storms that get a little feisty, maybe some damaging wind gusts, a little bit of hail. isolated spin up, can't be ruled out completely. The rainfall that's going to move in is going to move in waves, so it's going to add up to about an inch in some places, locally higher amounts, though, especially on the western slopes of the Sierra, where you get that that orographic influence of just wringing that moisture out. And then, of course, the higher levels, you're getting snow out of that. So let's put this into motion. You can see our disturbance here, that low that's spinning off the coast and bringing those waves of rain in. You'll watch as those waves of rain kind of migrate their way down the coast. So starting around the Bay Area, eventually down into LA, filling into San Diego eventually as well. 'Tis the nature of these types of systems. You're in the rain, you're out, you're in the rain, you're out, as that energy is moving onshore. Maybe some gusty winds coming along with that as well. Winter storm warning going into effect this afternoon through tomorrow. You'll really start to see those snow levels lowering as we head through tonight and into tomorrow. At the onset, you shouldn't have any issues at any of those past levels for any of your weekend mountain travel initially. By tomorrow, though, that might be a little bit of a different story. We're adding up to feet for the highest peaks, and this is great snow for the Sierra. As Lynette, we are well below average. I mean, we are only at 5% of average for snow in the Sierra right now. In the North Sierra, Central 16%. That is dismal for where we are in the year.
It is. That's pretty pitiful. All right, let's go
right
to
after Weekend Recharge.
Well, it may be dry for now, but the clouds are already gathering here in our virtual view of Dallas. Just a sneak peek at what's to come as you power through your Saturday. Rumbling storms are coming in with a bang this afternoon. They'll be fast moving, they'll be quick, but you still don't want to be caught out in downpours like this. Now, Dallas, you actually are not in the severe risk area for today. Isolated severe storms as you look just to the east of Abilene, but the better chance for severe storms will be for southern portions of Texas up into eastern New Mexico, places like Lubbock. You have that better chance for storms actually reaching severe limits, but that's not to say in Dallas that you won't get a feisty little thunderstorm that's going to come blasting through as we head through the day today. In Amarillo and Lubbock, for your afternoon, you might have a few passing showers, but it's really late afternoon into the evening that you start to see this line of storms coming together, damaging wind gusts, large hail, rounds of heavy rain. All of that is going to be impacting your Saturday evening and Saturday night. So if you have dinner plans or anything like that, just take this into account. It's going to be very stormy and some of them could be severe. Now let's take a look at Midland, San Angelo over through Abilene. What you'll notice is with the setup that we have today, you've got these kind of fast moving showers and thunderstorms that are more individual before the main line of storms that's going to move in later on this afternoon and evening. Now these storms will likely not be severe, but they could still put down some heavy rain at times. A better chance for gusty winds, for hail. It's going to come this evening as this main line of storms blast in, and just look at that activity even into the midnight hour. Have some way to get those alerts if you find yourself in a severe warning. There is not a big risk for tornadoes, but there's also not a zero risk anytime you have all of these elements coming together. So do have some way that will wake you up if you find yourself in one of those warnings. To Oklahoma City, where you'll have some passing rain and showers today. We're going to have maybe a rumble of thunder, but today is not really the most active. It's overnight tonight into Sunday morning. As you're planning out your Sunday, maybe you want to go for your Sunday morning run, got brunch plans, service plans, anything like that. The first part of your Sunday is going to be very wet, so you'll have to plan around that in OKC, maybe even reaching severe limits. Dallas for you today, again, passing showers, a rumble of thunder here or there. It's the overnight hours into your early Sunday morning that is the biggest threat here. So if you have something you need to do early Sunday in Dallas and you got to be outside for it, maybe you reschedule that for a little bit later. Lynette.
All right, and the streets of
Thankfully, yeah, it's going to be hot. Well, you might be praying for a rain shower at some point. Let's talk about where you do have the chance for maybe an isolated storm. Kansas City, isolated storm can't completely be ruled out, although you can see the forecast now showing as the White Sox take on the Royals a lesser chance of a storm. I'd still keep a very close eye to the sky for this game. Winds are breezy and temperatures are comfortable. Now let's head to St. Louis, where the Red Sox are taking on the Cardinals. If you're a Cardinals fan, or if you're a Red Sox fan, you are very used to baseball games being cold at times. Well, not today. It's going to be a hot, breezy one. Temperatures getting up into the lower 80s for you. And to the Masters. Masters has had everyone in a a grip here lately, and the weather is, I'd call this fantastic, especially if you don't like the heat. You can get out there early on. You'll notice the morning temperatures each morning from this morning to tomorrow morning, starting out on the cool side. So the early rounds of play will be on the cooler side. By the afternoon, it is hot, though. So a little bit of something for everyone. If you want the heat and the sunshine, go in the afternoon. If you want the cooler temperatures, the morning is your best bet to enjoy that. Meanwhile, let's head to Chicago, where Fire FC is taking on Atlanta United. The weather not so bad for that either, just cloudy and in the 50s. Lynette?
All right, Felicia, stick around.